For joining us today. Today we'll be covering NAPCO's Gemini series keypad programming. What NAPCO has implemented is what's known as our easy menu-driven keypad programming. You'll find this programming style on all factory fresh 816s and larger panels. Grant Phillips, I'm NAPCO's Commercial Director of Systems. Anything I can do for you, please feel free to reach out to me, either on my cell phone listed there on the screen or my email address. Things we need to cover first before jumping into the class. These are some of the items that you will need to be successful in the class. It will be very helpful to you to have a functioning 1632 control panel that is powered up and has a factory condition, meaning no programming has been performed on the system. Custom Alpha NAPCO keypad, a K1 or RP1 series keypad, a copy of the 1632 control panel manual, a copy of the 1632 quick start guide, which will actually walk you through each of the steps that we'll be performing here today. The completed programming worksheet. This in the current version 632 manual on pages 42 to 44. It's beneficial to have that filled out in its entirety before beginning this process. It takes to fill out this form. You will need each of these sections of programming as we go through the menus. For any of these documents, the installation manuals, program software, notes, anything that NAPCO has produced for at least the last 25 years on our technical website at www.tech.napcosecurity.com. These manuals and documents are available free of charge for anyone who has registered for the service. This is a number of keypads to meet your needs, ranging from biometric indoor-outdoor keypads to fixed icon keypads, keypads, custom displayed keypads, as well as applications for Android and Apple devices, and our own wireless tablets. Today, programming from one of our custom alpha keypads. The one on your screen right now is one of our commercially focused keypads, the RP1 CE2. You know the keypads from our K series. The K series and RP series keypads are usually very similar, although K series, which is what you see on the left-hand side of your screen, is more for a commercial application. As such, it lacks some of the quick arming keys that we would typically expect in a residential system. That would be the series that you see on the right. Where keypad you're using, the way we program is exactly the same. Two keypad styles, you'll note a function button on the left, and on the keypad is a menu button. The labels, their operation is identical. You'll see is the keypad on the left, the RP series keypad, has an on-off button, enter button on K series keypad to the right. Again, both buttons in programming have the same function, which is a enter or save. Keypad, you'll see another variation. The K series keypad has an interior button, while the series has a more residentially friendly stay button. Both buttons function the same in programming, which they are a yes and next to move forward in programming. You'll see different sections of programming as we move forward. The difference is the int versus the away buttons. Again, both buttons have the exact same functionality. It's just a little different labeling again for the application. Both buttons are a no button, and a prior button would be to move backwards in programming. Programming a NAPCO system is, of course, we must power up the system and connect a keypad to the system. All pads come out of the factory configured as address number 1. If you have one keypad installed on the system, you will need to address the additional keypads. On the panel, you'll see a jumper that is labeled as config. The config jumper down to the bottom 2 pins that halts the processor in the panel. After 30 seconds, each of your keypads connected will say 1 out of system. This is the indication of that keypad's current address. It must have its own address. One is the 01 out of system. You'll land on the keypad 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, followed by the function or menu button. This is into the main configuration of the keypad. Most importantly for this exercise will be the keypad address, though we'll go through a few of the other functions. Note that if you have more than one keypad, your keypads must be consecutively numbered. Your first pad being number 1, second being number 2, third number 3, so forth. One keypad configuration, by putting in 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, followed by the function or menu button, the first display that you will see is keypad beep on. You can set to off by pressing the on-off or enter button. Keypad beep on, press the next button to continue. And that will come on your screen is the entry sounder. But the keypad will enunciate when the entry delay is active. Again, you can toggle that to off by pressing the off or enter button. Next, press the next button to move forward. You will see is the current keypad address. We will do this as direct data. That is, if this was keypad address number 1, I would type in 01 with my keypad. Or 2, I would type in 02. And to note at this point is, if you look at the display, you'll see the cursor under the 0 digit next to the address. Number at this point, that is a number would be entered into that left-hand digit. So on the system, a 9600, for example, it can have up to 15 keypads. If I 1 on the keyboard, the 1 will be replacing the 0 on the display. Once you add address, be it 01, 02, or another, it is important that you press the enter or on-off button to that entry to move forward. You'll see on the screen, we'll read new compat number. We do use compatibility numbers on our 1632, which is what we're concentrating on today. So you will want to leave that as its default 0000. Just next button to continue. You will see on the screen is EDM address. Some NAPCO custom alpha burglar keypads come equipped with a 4-zone expander built into the keypad. This would be the address of the zone expander. In this example today, so we leave this at the default, which is 00, which means unused. If you change this to zone expander number 1, you would type in 01, follow the enter or on-off button to save, then button to continue. That you see on the screen is very seldom used. This is your zone response. This is a zone selected as a fast response zone. This will change the initial timing of the zone response from 750 milliseconds to 50 milliseconds. It's typically only used with older mercury-based vibration switches. It's not often today since most door contacts, motion detectors, and other points of protection will to alarm typically a second or more. I'm leaving this as 00 and let you understand what you're doing. We can actually exit the configuration mode on the keypad. We will do that by pressing the reset button, with the bottom left-hand corner of the keypad. The keypad display will read 01 out of system. Again, the 01 is indication that it is keypad address number 1. Process on each keypad installed on the system of changing the address of the keypad for each. With each keypad, we'll read the panel and move the configuration jumper back to the top 2 pins to put the system back in operation. In operation, we're to enter programming. You will pin the default dealer code, which is 456789. The function or menu button. You'll press repeatedly until the screen displays activate program, yes, no. To enter programming, press the button in the upper right hand corner labeled yes. Programming the first time, you're going to get a series of questions that are walking you through the main setup of your system. The first question is, how many zones do you have in area 1 or partition 1? Using the 8 zones on the control panel, you would pin 08. If you have expanders or additional wireless devices, this could be a different number all the way up to 32 zones, since this is a 1632. You'll enter the number of zones that you're going to install, follow the enter or on-off button to save. Button, you'll see the next screen, which is asking you if you would like to enable zone doubling. Zone is a function on the system that allows you to connect 2 zones to each physical zone connections at the panel. For example, Zone 1's terminals could support Zone 1 and Zone 9. Each of them has a separate end-of-line resistor. To affordably have twice as many zones without buying zone expanders. Caution, this is intended for normally closed devices only. Question, you will ask either the yes or no button. Let's press no. Automatically now move to the question number 3, which is asking you for which zone numbers are going to be fire zones. On a control panel, zones 7 and or 8 can be configured as 2-wire fire zones. They could be 4-wire fire zones, 4-wire smoke detectors, or conventional fire zones for heat detectors and other devices. Can support 4 smoke detectors and dry contact fire devices, like heat detectors. You're going to enter which specific zone numbers will be fire zones. For our example, we'll typical Zone 7 and Zone 8 as fire zones. I would 07, follow the enter or on-off button, then 08, followed by the enter or on-off button. If only 2 fire zones, press the next button on the keypad, and you'll question 4. It's asking you, which are 2-wire fire zones, meaning powered fire zones? The only zones on a 1632 that can be powered fire zones are zones 7 and 8. In those zones for smoke detectors, you'll set there is a jumper for each zone on the main board to convert it from a low-powered burglary zone to powered 2-wire fire zone. By using zones 7 and 8 as 2-wire fire zones, I would pin 07 by the enter or on-off button, then 08 follow the enter or on-off button. On your keypad, you'll press question 5. Question is a simple yes/no question. We will manipulate this by using the yes or no buttons on the keypad. If the system is a monitored system, press equal system only, press no. Once your choice, you will automatically be moved to the next question, question 6. Question is asking you which zone numbers are your entry-exit zones. Reference your zone list that we made up earlier today and zone number. So if zone 1 was our front door, I would 01 followed the enter or on-off button. It was also an entry-exit zone. Type 02 followed by enter or on-off button. Once you've entered entry-exit zones, press the next button to move forward. Is asking you what are interior zones. These typically be your motion detectors. Again, the zone numbers that you have like to designate as interior bypass zones. For our we will zone 3 a motion detector. So we will pin 03, enter, or on. Move on. Our question is, which numbers are 24-hour zones? This zones, like water bucks, for example, a zone that is active 24/7. We choose fire zones because they're automatically 24-hour zones. So if water bug as zone 5, we will zone 5 followed by enter or on-off button. Question is asking us about chimes. 2 different door chimes that NAPCO utilizes, chime zones and 2 zones. Between those is a zone that is designated as a chime zone when chime is enabled on a continuous tone on the keypad for a programmable period of time. That's a 1-second notification. Chime 2 zones, same duration, but will be a pulse on the keypad sounder, a beep, 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 for default 1 second, a programmable period of time. The 2 chime types, especially in a residential application, are valuable when there's children. Maybe used to program the doors and windows on the front of the house as chime 2, and doors and windows on the back of the house as chime 1. So the parent can know by sound which direction to look for the children. Commercial application, the front door may be chime 2, and the back door may be chime 1. Again, to give a easy audible designation between which doors are opening. Any ones that you would like to enunciate the door chime, this chime 1, which is a constant tone on the keypad. Enter zone number here, followed by the enter button. So we'll make the garage door a chime zone. We will 02, followed by because the garage door will be zone 2. When I wanted to designate as a chime zone, I'll press next button to continue. Is chime 2. So very previous question, which ones will belong to chime group 2? Which sound, that's the pulsing sounder on the keypad. Let's make zone 1, the front door, a chime 2 zone. Type 1, follow the enter or on-off button. If you'd like to follow chime 2, enter 2-digit zone number, by enter or on-off. Press the button to move forward. 7 is exit zones. Now I have 2 programmable entry and exit delays. Typical systems will follow just a single entry delay, but if you have an application where additional delays are required, In the example of possibly contacted overhead garage door, you zone number here and program an extended period of time in number 2. If you're not using this function, just next to move forward. Question 12. This is you, which zones are a fast response zone? This is to the option that we programmed into the Keypad zone expander. By default, NAPCO zones require the contact they're connected to change state for 3/4 of a second. Entering here makes that particular zone a fast response zone. So much that we talked about on previous screens, we would enter the zone number of the zone that we wanted to be a fast response zone. This is a use function today, so most of us will just press the next button to move forward. The next we'll see is question number 13, auxiliary output zones. It means that in addition to sounding the burglar alarm siren when they're activated, it can also trigger PGM number 2, which is open collector output on the motherboard. If, for example, we wanted the garage door, which we know is zone 2, to trigger a separate piezo sounder, or be an LED that's attached to PGM 2, we put in its zone number here, followed by enter or on off. Function, just press next to move forward. Is sensor watch zones. Is a more specialized function that allows the system to place a timer on certain zones, where if not any activity in those zones during a disarmed period for a specified amount of time, it can report that to the substation. This is an application where there are a number of motion detectors in an elderly person's house that want to make sure that they're going to move around, or of a fast food restaurant. No time that a McDonald's or a Burger King would be disarmed where there's activity inside of the building, even when they're closed. There are employees walking around. In the zone number of the motion detector zones on the system, if there's an incident there, a number of years ago, you may have seen in the news that there were robberies at fast food restaurants where criminals would lock all the employees and customers in the freezer, lock the store, leave employees and everyone in the freezer, and away they go. In those cases, there's no activity in the building. Great extra service that can be added. Much functions, just type in the zone number, the 2-digit zone number of the zone that you would apply this function to, or move forward. Is Keypad sounder on alarm? By NAPCO burglary zones will trigger the burglary siren. If you also like the Keypad sounder to squeal during activation of those zones in an alarm event, type numbers here. For example, if front door into alarm, Keypad sounder to also make noise, we would pin 01 by the enter or on off button, since that's 1. We could read the garage door, zone 2, by pin 02, follow the enter or off button. Zones that we designated as fire earlier in programming will automatically sound the sounder in the keypads, in addition to firing the burglar alarm sounder. This has to do with any zones that have been automatically bypassed by the system. It could be a forced arming. This will allow zones, if they clear, can be automatically unbypassed. A good example of this is an overhead garage door. We have an overhead garage door to a forced armable zone. It would pass until the garage door closed. If we enter zone number here. As this, press move forward. 17 deals with end-of-line resistors. What they're asking you is if you would like to enable no end-of-line resistors. This question, if you press yes, you line resistors. Press no to proceed using end-of-line resistors. No question. Once you answer this, it will automatically move you to the next question, which enables telephone line cut testing. This is on a voltage-based telephone line monitoring within the system, where the system is connected to a phone line and that phone line loses its voltage for 60 seconds. It will then get a trouble via the keypad sounder when the system is disarmed. Of the same situation, but the burglar alarm is armed up, especially in a residential application, that would be silent. It would be on the keypad, but it would noise to disturb the customer. Or not utilize this function. Once you mention, you'll automatically be moved to the next question, which is enable Berg output chirp. This is an ARM chirp of your siren. Most applications are not going to utilize this. This is press no to move forward. If you will use this function, press and it will move forward for you. The next you'll see is enable CS-CPO1. CPO1 is a false alarm reduction standard that actually dictates how a system works. It dictates things like entry and exit delay times, delays, a host of other functions. If you're in an area that requires CO1, press. Otherwise, press no to disable those functions. You'll move to question number 21. How many keypads do you have in area 1 of your system? This will be defaulted to 0, 1. If 3 keypads, you would then 0, 3, follow the enter or on-off button. Accommodate up to 7 keypads. So your valid answers here are 0, 1, all through 0, 7. Again, don't forget to press the enter or on-off button to save. That's the next button to proceed. Question is the central station's phone number. This is a receiver phone number. Your number here may be 1-800-124-567. To 0, you in star 0. So 1-800 number, you would in 1-800-0, the phone number. To add a delay, you make character D, which is star 3. Or to utilize automatic dial tone detection, in star 4 before entering your phone number. Once you star 4, you'll notice on the screen the E character will display. Phone number, you can press enter or on-off, then the next button to move forward. Your account number at the central station. You enter this as a 4-digit number. So number is 1234. Type 1234. Follow the enter or off button. Move forward. The next you'll see is receiver format. Which are you transmitting to a central station? And I've given you both of the most common formats that are used today, ID and CF formats. If you're using contact ID, in star 2, and we'll read a C character. Using the CF format, type in star 1, and it will be displayed. Enter or on-off button to save that information, and press the button to move forward. Question or series of questions, you'll relate to user codes. The user 1632 are numbered number 1 through user 32. Through these screens, it's simple, though it's a little different than what we've been working with in the past. Screen, your keypad in front of you, is U1, which is user number 1, and see a cursor under 0. Menu or function button to move the cursor to the right. If we wanted to program user number 1 to be something other than the default code of 1, 2, 3, we would 0, 1, location of the cursor. If it already moved to the right-hand side of the screen, we would menu or function button to the cursor over. Cursor underneath the 1 of the 1, 2, 3 code that's on the screen now. The code. If we change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, type in 1, 2, 3, 4. The screen, there are 3 sides to the screen. On the far left-hand side is the user number. It's the code used on a NAPCO panel can be 3 digits, 4 digits, 5 digits, or 6 digits. Right side of the screen, where I flagged as options or authority level, 2-part screen. The section where you see the blank 9 is to its code operation in area 1. The right, which is 2 blanks, is what is the function of that code in area 2. In this example, you'll see in 1 an option of 9. Looking at the chart that I've included on the screen, left digit and right digit. The digit of 9 indicates that this code is a master code because user programming ability, able to arm and disarm. Where there was, I added a number 1 with the arm disarm value and with the user programming value to read. If the system that I was going to program where easy bypassing was not enabled, I would then have to authorize each user to give them the ability to bypass. If the programmed that way, this code option would be for a 4-digit in that it has the ability to bypass. Necessary on systems that do have easy bypassing enabled. We have the user code and the authority level. Don't forget to press the enter or off button to say what you've done. When you press the enter or on off button, you should move back to underneath the 0 user 01. You can 02 function or menu button to move back over to then begin enter code. And this could be code 1235. The function or menu button again to move over to the option. For standard user 01 or master user, we would enter in 09. Again, to hit the enter or on off button to save code. You can repeating this process all the way up to user number 32. Codes, press your next button to move forward. The program has to do with wireless transmitters. 2 different methods of programming wireless transmitters into a NAPCO system. The first method is to manually enter in the wireless information. The method is an enroll function. We'll show you both here. Screen, the label here is zone number 9, and note that the cursor is under the 9. If I program a different zone number with a wireless transmitter, For example, Zone 10, type in 10. You'll note the display will change. Press the function or menu button. That will cursor over to where you see the zeros. I would pick my transmitter. Notice that there is a sticker on every NAPCO transmitter that lists its RFID number. I would pin the RFID number followed by a 1. We'll talk here in just a couple of minutes. Characters in your RFID number may be letters. So an A, you'll pin a *0. B, you would enter a *1. C, *2. D, *3. E, 4. And as a *5. You'll enter or on/off button save. Your cursor will then move back to zone number portion of the screen. In zone 15 now with a wireless transmitter. Type in for the zone number. Press the function or menu button to move cursor over to the transmitter ID number. Type number off of the transmitter sticker, followed by 1, or on/off button to save. To your wireless ID numbers, you could then next to continue. So, for example, if to program zone 1 with a wireless ID number, down to the screen, you'll see where I typed in the wireless ID. The left line you'll see is a -0. We will type in a 1 for that to replace that 0 with. That's NAPCO's transmitters. Manufacturers single zone transmitters as well as multi-zone transmitters. The Gen's LP that can have 2 separate hardwired contacts wire the transmitter as independent zones. The would be -1 in this area. Zone would be the RFID number with a 2. Could add 2 contacts for a pair of overhead garage doors up to the same transmitter, and we want to enunciate them individually on the system and possibly program them with different functionality. The hard contact programmed to zone 1 and on that transmitter could be programmed to zone 2. And there's on the screen to discuss this as well. If point transmitter, which would be a glass break detector, a motion detector, a trans LP slimline contact, or trans 2 that we're only using a contact in, that will be -1. The only -2 is the final digit if I'm using the second point on Gem Trans 2. And again, enter or on/off button to save your work. Once there or on/off button, if valid trans ID number or RFID number, they will return to the zone number where you type in the next zone number to be programmed. This transmitter installation that we'll talk about is a much easier method. That's auto-enroll. Our transmitter enrolling screen we saw previously when we typed in the ID number. If you press the bypass button on the keypad, the red and green LEDs will begin flashing. This is where you could have typed in the transmitter ID number will now enroll. If this contact, install the battery. that transmitter was enrolled into the system. This is a easier method than manually typing in the transmitter ID numbers. Say note, if a transmitter has poor signal strength, it may be enrolled into the system. NAPCO systems require that their transmitters be at least 30% signal strength or higher. Transmitters can be mapped and enrolled the same way. One, as we just looked at, and I'll go back. If we 0-1 at the wireless screen, followed by the bypass button on the transmitter, then installed the battery, it would end zone 1. Then zone 0-2. Power transmitter down, opening on that transmitter. Re-entry, keypad will beep again. That is installed as zone and as zone 2. If you were to map that to a different zone, you can be able to specify which zones you're going to map at that time. It's important to always press the enter or off button after enrolling a device to save that. This, press the next button on to the next section of programming. Is key fobs. Key fobs are a 4-button fob. The top left-hand button are arming and disarming buttons. The buttons are programmable, known as auxiliary 1 and auxiliary 2. On your screen, there are different options that can be assigned to each button. Key fob has a sticker with an RFID number on it, just utilized on the previous screen. In your display, you'll see on the far left-hand side a 0-1. That's fob number. The fob would be number 1. Or menu button to move cursor over to right. The digit that you see on your screen is area. Is this fob working? Is it area 1 or area 2? Press a move for you. Press function or menu button. The ID number off of the key fob. In this, that number is 86422B. Hand side of the screen display, you will see a 9B. Those are the auxiliary buttons. Then, for left-hand digit, the auxiliary 1 buttons function, and the B is the auxiliary 2 buttons function. In this case, auxiliary 1 is a keypad panic, and auxiliary 2 is a instant arming button to turn off the entry delays. With this, press the enter or on-off button to save. You should move back to your key fob number. You could then 0-2 follow your second key fob information. Again, press enter or on-off to save your work. Once you're at all of your key fobs, then next button to move forward. Zone descriptions. NAPCO systems will display all alpha zone numbers or zone descriptions for each zone. These characters can be uppercase, lowercase, or a combination of those. Can also include symbols. It's a little different here. Your 1 and 2 buttons on your keyboard move your to the left and to the right. Your 6 buttons scroll through the characters up or down. So if you press the 2 button 3 times, it would move over to the description for zone 1. At this point, if I wanted to press an A, or to select an A, I would the number 3 button the character would scroll to an uppercase A. The number 2 button, the code would move to the right, and I did the process using the up and down buttons and completed the zone description. Your on-off button to save your description. Your cursor will move back to the zone number. To produce English description, type 02. Then to move your cursor left and right, follow 3 buttons to scroll through your characters. Your zone descriptions, again, remembering to save each zone description as you go. Press the button to move forward. Today's date. Yes, as a 6-digit number. So the case today, the date is December 31st, 2015. In 12/31/15. Enter or on-off button to save that. Then press to continue. Is your time. Time as a 12-digit time, meaning 12:15 p.m., 12:15 a.m. And 1215 for 12:15. When underneath the M or PM, any you press will toggle it to the other. Once press the Enter or On-Off button to save, next button to move forward. Will be your dealer code. This programming code that is required to get into the NAPCO system via programming. Word of caution, panels do not utilize backdoors to circumvent your dealer code. So if you change this code and get it, you're entering or changing this information. If you change this information, type new dealer code. This will be a 6-digit code, and you'll enter this code using the number buttons on the keypad. Follow the on-off button to save. Change the code, the system will ask you to enter the code a second time as verification. We will have a viable code in the system. Re-enter the code, follow the enter or on-off button to save, next to move forward. The final option in our menu-driven programming is our test timer. Timer is told. So notice on my screen, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and to the right is your time. The cursor moves across underneath the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. To move it, I wanted to toggle off, in this case, Sunday and today. Move the cursor underneath Sunday. Press any number button. That will turn Sunday. Menu button to move the cursor again underneath the M for Monday. Press A button. That will off Monday. We process to an example that looks like mine, where I have my test timer configured for Wednesdays at 2200. 2200 would be 10 p.m. You'll enter this as military or 24-hour time. Once you press the enter or off button to save your work, you've now completed our menu-driven programming. Moving forward, we talk about another section of programming that NAPCO has available, which is known as our address programming. Changes that you make to a system via keypad programming after this initial programming will require that you go into our address programming to manipulate different functions. Since we are in the menu-driven programming, if you hit the reset button one time on your keypad, you will transfer to the address level programming. If you were to press the reset button twice, you would programming completely, and this would return to normal operation. Note, this menu that we've stepped through will only be visible to you on a new panel from the factory, or panel that you have defaulted. And I'll go through defaulting panels a little bit later here today. Address programming. Programming structure is such that there are a number of fields, programming fields. Current fields are numbered 000 through 2287. Much programming, anytime we enter data into those fields, it is important that you press the enter or on-off button to see your work. In programming, there are three different types that we can enter. I'll show you what those looks like. First is binary data. On the screen, the time is showing address 000. If I wanted to enter into a different address, I would function or menu button to move the cursor underneath the first 0. And I'm going to enter in field number 0730. Add. Once that number in, it will change, and on our right-hand side, you'll see an indication with the letter B, indicating this is binary programming. We will be toggling numbers on and off, much like toggle the dates for your test timer on and off. Or menu button might move underneath any options. The next type of programming is known as decimal format programming. You'll often see this in areas where you're setting timers, delays, entry delays, and timeouts. On the bottom of the screen, where we're field number 1183, this is programmed as a 5-minute. This is a 5-minute timer timeout. Like the previous programming, one cursor is underneath the first 0 on the address field on the left-hand side. Something that you'd like to enter as a 4-digit number. Then the right side of the screen is your indication that this is decimal format. If we have a 005, we would hit our menu button to move the cursor over to the first data digit, and then data. Follow the on-off button to save. The final form of programming is known as hexadecimal format programming. These are codes that we programmed a bit earlier. You may recall that user 1, we programmed with an attribute of 9. We added the value of 1, which was to arm and disarm, added an 8, which was master programming capability to come up with a 9. Sections of programming are very similar. These different sections of address programming, it is necessary for you to have your program manual handy. I recommend fill out your programming manual and program worksheet prior to entering this. In areas of direct address programming, we'll step through. How do we get to address programming? It's already in programming mode. We would our dealer code, or dealer code if you did not change it, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, followed by function or menu button. Function or menu button repeatedly until it says activate program, yes, no. Press the button. You will click menu programming. Button one time, you will be at direct address programming. Again, it will be divided. The left side is the address that you're programming. Right side is the data. Entered into address programming. If I want to change my alarm bell timeout, I would address 1414. Menu button to move the cursor underneath the first data digit, and 010, follow the enter or on off button to output timeout to 10 minutes. At that point, my cursor is underneath the 1 of the address 1414. I type in field 0841, my low battery reporting. In this, you notice that I want to turn on low battery, which is number 5. If I press 5 key, you will see number 5 illuminate on the screen. Then on off button to save. Another programming the dealers would like to fine-tune are Keypad's function. Are the panic buttons? Are we enabling the keypad switches? With 0861. So again, you function or menu button to ensure that your cursor is on the left-hand side of the screen. Type this that we want to program, in this 0861, and then functions on. That number 1 would be illuminated on my keypad, number 2 would be illuminated on my keypad. Ambush was enabled, as well as keypad police panic. If I turn on the keypad fire panic button, I get the number 3 button on the keypad. Since I missed, press enter or on off button to save. Programming, or a field of programming. The cursor is on the left-hand side of the screen in the address section. Type in the address that you'd like to go to. Particular screen, we have options for configuring the keypads even further. Have their systems set restore reports to Central Station, not just alarm reports. At 0926, address that for zones 1 through 8. So that ensure was on the left-hand side of the screen. Type in address 0926. Use it to move the cursor to the right-hand side of the screen. And tell. So if I turn on restore reports for zone 1, that's the number 1 button. If I want restore reports also for zones 7 and 8, I would 7 button, follow button. Once I'm programming in that field, then press the enter or on off button to save. We repeat this process to manipulate any of the different sections of programming you'd like to customize. I guess more time, that it's important to have your programming manual with you and read yourself the first section in the programming manual, a reminder for you of how to navigate through programming. Information or to view any of the different fields of programming that are available to you, your program will take you through each of these different sections. We start programming guide. We walk you through what we've done today, which is the easy menu programming. You can either of those at the NAPCO technical website, www.tech.napcosecurity.com. Programming, press the button twice. This is your system to normal operation. I mentioned earlier, that menu, easy menu of programming, what will be visible the first time you program a particular panel. Once programmed, I'll not see those functions again. If you were to restore your panel to its factory default programming, which will enable the menu programming, we need into address programming. If the system is in activation right now, operation, programming code, or code of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, function or menu button repeatedly until the screen displays activate program, yes, no. Press the either or yes button. You'll need menu programming. One time, address programming. Once you're in, cursor is on the left-hand side of the screen. Type in 2286. Enter or on-off button. That's loading all the factory defaults and erasing all the programming in the panel. Give the system a few seconds after pressing the enter or on-off button, followed by set button. Now reload all of its defaults. As we did just default the panel, so any programming that was in there would never be removed. Re-enter programming and do the full entire easy menu programming again. From NAPCO, different field number to initialize the panel. 1632, it is number 2286. If you're using a 3200, a 9600, a 55, other panel, you'll look in the programming manual, see the field number to initiate that. The programming mode. We give users the ability to manipulate certain functions of the system. The common functions that they can manipulate are loads, zone and if that applies to the system. Accesses programming the same way that you did. They will on the keypad a master code, followed by or button. They'll press the button repeatedly until it says activate program. They will then there are next buttons just through their programming that's available to them. And cannot access things like zone types, phone numbers, or any system level parameter, but the ability to reprogram zone descriptions. Space of a bedroom was repurposed as an office. That can easily be changed. That are important about user programming. If a user enters programming and does not finish programming, or they walk away midstream, the system will eventually time out and kick out of programming. The user can change user codes, zones, the settings, and if the system has schedules. As an important note, and areas that a code is assigned to, those reserved for the dealer. So one code in the system that was a master code, the user could not add additional master codes. They would order assistance to be able to create additional master codes. Or a code was programmed to work area 1 only, they alter it and make it work area 2. Those are those dealer-only functions. Presentation for today, helpful to everyone here. Again, talked about earlier, it is if you're programming, ensure that you have the right tools with you, meaning the programming manual, a filled programming sheet, and any other pertinent documentation about the system. So we can do to assist you, please let us know at NAPCO. We'll help you and make sure that this is a successful experience for you. All day.